Hello everyone! In this tutorial I'd like to share with you the process of creating simple Instagram leaf photo from Photoshop layers through Adobe After Effects. So let's start with our source file. Our source file is pretty big. It's the so-called puzzle feed template. The photos are composed here, so I am finishing already this one and creating the left topmost photo. I'm interested in animating separate layers, so I'm not simply creating a visible stamp layer, but copying all the layers separately. So what should be done? First of all, when selecting the layers, not getting into the mess of the layers, this huge document, I'm doing the following. I click and holding Shift, click the crosses and click my background layer. That's all that is in focus for this photo. After that, knowing that my background is not only the gradient fill with some opacity, but also a geometry file, so I'm using Ctrl key this time and add this to my selection. So I have crosses layer selected, photo layer selected, gradient and geometry layers selected. I'm pressing Ctrl C for all of them and creating new layer. My composition in After Effects will be the size of Instagram feed photo. It's 1080 by 1080. I press Create and Ctrl V. And I'm immediately got some mess. As far as it simply doesn't match the composition of initial photo, and in the final result, my photo will not match in Instagram. So I'm doing one more copy, and this time it will be merged copy. So Shift Ctrl C. I'm selecting the topmost layer, Ctrl V, dropping down the opacity to about 10%, and I'm getting my check layer. If you have the situation like I have, please consider linking your photo with the mask, then selecting my layers, pressing Ctrl T for transformation, and doing some manual adjustment to match it. We can zoom and check whether it matches. Now it matches perfectly. Okay. If you press Ctrl T again, you'll find your exactly layers are much bigger. So we need to get rid of the unneeded information. Press Crop tool, C. Consider putting Delete cropped pixels and press OK. Now we have just the needed information and just the needed space in our photo. Let's organize our photo. First of all, we don't need check layer anymore. And our crosses in After Effects will be animated separately. I'd like to use the upper rank of crosses and the lower rank of crosses separately. So let's do the following. I'm selecting the topmost three crosses and layer via cut. So now we have up and down. Up crosses and low crosses correspondingly. These two crosses are already rasterized files, but the photo isn't and it has some mask. So we need to rasterize it for After Effects to treat it correspondingly and to apply layer mask. Done. Let's check geometry copy and rasterize layer styles. Color overlay is also need to be rasterized and the mask needs to be applied. BG, unlink and rename it as BG. Okay, now we have the structure that can be used in Adobe After Effects. Let's save the file. I already have one. Let's replace it and let's jump into Adobe After Effects. So let's create new project. Import here some magic mask smoke as far as I want to track mate revealing of the photo in my composition. And let's import the Photoshop file we created just a couple of seconds ago. Here we are. I prefer using editable layer styles. We immediately got some source composition. Let's start our process. First of all, naturally you can create gradient fill in Adobe After Effects, but I strongly recommend you, if you working upon some puzzle live feed in Instagram, using the original gradient, as far as you can't match the gradient in Adobe After Effects with the gradient that is already used in the Instagram of your customer. Let's animate from below. The geometry copy will be animated. Let's hit P for position, keyframe it, and at about 20 frames. Let's animate on X axis, something like that. It's a bit slow, so we'll narrow the distance between our keyframes, and this is okay. The photo will be revealed with the help of track matte. You can find some smoke or fog overlays from internet and get some footages like that. I'll use it as the track matte for my image. If you can see track matte option, press F4 and use Lumamate. And here we are. I'd like to make the reveal a little bit faster, so I'll go to time stretch and double the speed, 0.5. Now it's fine to me, and I can proceed up lower crosses. I'll start animating them a little bit further, so I hit position, B, keyframe, go back, and animate X-axis. It's a bit slow, so let's narrow. The top line, I'll start animating it a little bit further. Hit B, keyframes, and move it even further. Let's check what it does. Narrow the keyframes distance, and select all of them and hit F9 to ease them, and open this graph editor. I want to modify their speed to make it move a little bit more interesting with some kind of speed variations. Let's do the same for geometry copy, F9, graph editor, and draw the same line, the same curve, to be precise. pretty simple animation. I'm not after something complex and something complicated. As the final touch of our post-processing, we need to create an adjustment layer. I'll rename it as saturation, and I'll edit an effect called lumetri color. After that, I'll move 5 frames. Basic correction, hit saturation. After that, hit U to reveal keyframe. Go about 1 second. Keyframe again. Turn back and put 0. So now our reveal animation is a little more pronounced with the help of animating the saturation. F9, correcting the graph, and we are good to go. I'd like to make the first frames completely empty to get rid of this partly reveal at the first frame, so I just move our mask for 2 or 3 frames. Now it's great. Okay, our animation is completely revealed at about 3 seconds, so I will shorten the composition, trim comp to work area, and let's check what we've got. Of course, this is not final result. As far as a good principle for leave photo in Instagram feed is to loop it. So let's turn back to our project and create one more composition. Simply just drag and drop our comp, and let's do the following. First of all, our composition needs to be a little bit longer. It's 3 seconds for now. Let's make it at about 5 seconds. Okay. Now let's play with time stretch and make it about 2 seconds and 15 frames. Okay, now make it its copy, one more time and time reverse layer, and after that adjust it to loop our animation. Let's see what we've got. Here we are. This is our final result. We have some nice and cool smoke dynamics. The photo isn't still for any frame. Ctrl S to save the project. After that, we need to do some render settings, and I prefer to do it in Adobe Media Encoder. For Instagram, it's best to use H264. The base of our settings is match source high bitrate. Let's save our name and path towards our file, and I'd strongly advise you to export audio for Instagram Live photos, even if its sound is completely empty. It's because some messengers and some file exchange resources can treat your video without exported 0 audio as a GIF and lower its quality. So use maximum depth and render quality both. Preview it for the last time and hit OK. So this is our final result. If this video was useful for you, consider press like, subscribe the channel. As far as you can find it, a lot of information about post-processing, 3D and working After Effects. See you later guys, and be creative.